Welcome to the wandering mind. Certain questions linger in the mind like distant stars, twinkling softly against the vast canvas of the unknown. These are the questions that have persisted through centuries, whispered through the corridors of time by philosophers, poets, and thinkers alike. They are not questions that demand immediate answers, nor do they expect resolution in the traditional sense. Instead, they invite contemplation, a gentle pondering that soothes the mind with its very ambiguity. As you settle into your cozy nook, perhaps with a warm cup of tea by your side, we invite you to share with us. What time is it where you are, and from which corner of the world are you listening? This small act of sharing creates a tapestry of shared experience, woven from the unique threads of each listener's journey. And if these musings help ease you into slumber or bring a touch of calm to your day, we would be delighted if you chose to subscribe and continue this shared exploration. So, as you let the gentle rhythm of these words guide you, remember that the beauty of philosophy lies not in the answers it provides, but in the questions it encourages us to ask. In this spirit of inquiry, we invite you to explore with us, to question with us, and to find peace. As we embark on our exploration of what constitutes a good life, we find ourselves in the company of countless thinkers who have pondered this question long before us. It's a question that has intrigued humanity across ages and cultures, echoing through the corridors of time as a gentle, persistent whisper. The idea of a good life is as varied and colorful as the tapestry of human experience itself, shaped by personal beliefs, cultural norms, and historical context. In ancient Greece, philosophers like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle embarked on this intellectual journey, each offering unique insights. Socrates, known for his dialectical method of inquiry, famously claimed that the unexamined life is not worth living. For him, a life of reflection and philosophical inquiry was essential to living well. His student, Plato, envisioned a good life as one aligned with the pursuit of justice and virtue, a theme he elaborated on in works like The Republic. Plato believed in the existence of an ideal realm of forms, suggesting that a good life involves striving to comprehend these perfect forms, thereby aligning our earthly lives with higher truths. Aristotle, Plato's own student, took a more grounded approach. He introduced the concept of eudaimonia, often translated as flourishing or well-being. Aristotle's vision of a good life was one of balance and moderation, achieved through the cultivation of virtues such as courage, temperance, and wisdom. He believed that by practicing these virtues, individuals could attain a state of happiness that is deeply fulfilling and enduring. For Aristotle, the good life was not about fleeting pleasures, but about living in accordance with one's true nature and potential. As we drift forward in time, we encounter the Stoics, who offered a different perspective. Stoicism taught that a good life is one lived in accordance with nature, where individuals remain indifferent to external circumstances and focus instead on their internal states. The Stoics, including figures like Seneca and Epictetus, emphasized the importance of reason, self-control, and acceptance of what cannot be changed. They believed that true happiness comes from inner peace and the ability to remain unshaken by life's vicissitudes. In contrast, the Epicureans, led by Epicurus, argued that pleasure is the highest good. However, their notion of pleasure was not hedonistic excess, but rather the absence of pain and disturbance. Epicurus advocated for simple living, intellectual pursuits, and the cultivation of friendships as the pillars of a satisfying life, believing that these could lead to ataraxia, a state of serene calm. As centuries passed, the question of the good life persisted, evolving with the currents of time. In the East, Confucianism and Taoism offered their own interpretations. Confucius emphasized the importance of moral integrity, family harmony, and social responsibility, seeing the good life as one that contributes to the welfare of the community. Taoism, attributed to Laozi, proposed a more mystical approach, encouraging individuals to live in harmony with the Tao, or the natural order of the universe. This involved a life of simplicity, spontaneity, and non-contention, allowing one to flow effortlessly like water. With the advent of modernity, the Enlightenment brought new perspectives. Philosophers such as Immanuel Kant and John Stuart Mill grappled with the question within the context of reason and utility. Kant proposed that a good life is one lived in accordance with moral duty, guided by the categorical imperative acting in ways that could be universally applied. Mill, on the other hand, advocated for utilitarianism, suggesting that a good life is one that maximizes happiness for the greatest number of people. In contemporary times, the conversation has expanded to include diverse voices from psychology, sociology, and even neuroscience. Positive psychology, for instance, explores the science of well-being, considering factors like positive emotions, engagement, relationships, meaning, and accomplishment as key components of a fulfilling life. Meanwhile, existentialism, with figures like Jean-Paul Sartre and Simone de Beauvoir, challenges us to find meaning in a world that offers no inherent purpose, suggesting that the good life is one we define for ourselves through authentic choices. Amidst this rich tapestry of ideas, one thing becomes clear. The definition of a good life is not static. It shifts and transforms, influenced by the values we hold dear, the experiences we encounter, and the changes in our world. For some, it might be a life of service and compassion. For others, a journey of personal growth and self-discovery. Some may find it in the pursuit of knowledge, while others in the creation of art or the nurturing of relationships. And so, as we consider what a good life means to us, we might take solace in the fact that there is no definitive answer. Instead, we are invited to embark on our own journey of exploration, guided by the wisdom of those who have come before us, yet free to carve our own path. In this journey, we might find comfort in the uncertainty, for it is within this space of questioning that we encounter the beauty of possibility. As we ponder the good life, we are reminded that it is not a destination, but a continuous unfolding, a dance between our inner aspirations and the world around us. Imagine, if you will, standing at a crossroads. Each path represents a choice, a decision that beckons you with the promise of a different future. The notion that we can choose our path, that we hold the reins of our destiny, is both empowering and comforting. Yet there lies a deeper, more intricate tapestry woven beneath the surface of this seeming freedom. The age-old debate of free will versus determinism. To ponder whether our choices are truly our own, or if they are predetermined by a tapestry of cause and effect, is to embark on a journey through the corridors of philosophy and science. The essence of free will is the ability to make choices unimpeded by external forces. It is the belief that we are the masters of our fate, the captains of our soul. But is this freedom an illusion, a mere shadow cast by the intricate workings of the universe? Determinism, on the other hand, suggests that every event, decision, and action is the inevitable result of preceding causes. In this view, the universe is a grand clockwork, with each cog and wheel turning in perfect harmony, dictated by the immutable laws of nature. The concept of determinism finds its roots in the works of philosophers like Pierre-Simon Laplace, who imagined a universe so precisely ordered that if one knew the position and momentum of every particle, one could predict the future with absolute certainty. The tension between these two perspectives, the freedom of choice and the chains of determinism, has intrigued thinkers for centuries. Philosophers like John Locke have argued that the sense of freedom we experience is compatible with determinism, coining the term compatibilism. According to this view, free will and determinism are not mutually exclusive. Rather, they coalesce to form a more complete understanding of human agency. Biology, too, enters this debate, offering its own perspective. Neuroscience has uncovered that many of our actions are governed by processes within our brain that occur without conscious awareness. The work of Benjamin Libet, a notable neuroscientist, revealed that the brain initiates actions milliseconds before we become consciously aware of our decision to act. This insight raises profound questions about the nature of free will. Are we merely passengers on a train of predetermined neural processes? And yet, amidst these scientific revelations, our subjective experience of choice remains palpable. We feel as though we weigh options, deliberate, and select. The simple act of choosing a meal, a book, or a path in life is imbued with a sense of personal agency. It is this very experience that fuels the argument for free will, a testament to the complexity and richness of human consciousness. The dialogue between free will and determinism also extends into the realm of ethics and morality. If our actions are predetermined, can we be held accountable for them? This question has profound implications for our understanding of responsibility and justice. The philosopher Immanuel Kant posited that moral responsibility requires free will. Without it, the very foundation of ethical behavior crumbles. Yet, some philosophers, like Daniel Dennett, argue that even if determinism is true, it does not absolve us of responsibility. They suggest that holding individuals accountable for their actions is essential for the functioning of society, a necessary construct that promotes cooperation and deters harmful behavior. In the grand tapestry of existence, the debate between free will and determinism is not merely an intellectual exercise. It is a reflection of our quest to understand what it means to be human. It challenges us to consider the nature of choice, the architecture of the mind, and the laws that govern the cosmos. As we ponder this intricate dance between freedom and inevitability, let us embrace the questions it raises, for they invite us to explore the depths of our own consciousness. Whether our choices are truly free or shaped by the unseen forces of the universe, the very act of questioning enriches our understanding of ourselves and the world we inhabit. In the end, perhaps the beauty lies not in the answers we seek, but in the journey of exploration itself. As we stand at the crossroads of free will and determinism, we find solace in the mystery, in the knowledge that there is always more to discover, more to understand, and more to wonder. Consciousness is a concept that feels as intimate as our own skin, yet as elusive as the most distant stars. We live within it, a vast, mysterious realm defined by thoughts, feelings, and awareness. It is the quiet companion to every experience, the silent narrator of our personal stories. Yet, for all its intimacy, consciousness remains one of the most profound mysteries in both philosophy and science. To understand why consciousness is so baffling, we might first consider what it means to be aware. It is a simple question, yet it opens a Pandora's box of complexities. Awareness appears to be the foundation of consciousness, the ability to perceive, to sense, to be in touch with the world around us. But what is the nature of this perception? Is it merely a collection of sensory inputs, or is there something deeper, something more enigmatic at play? Philosophers have long pondered the nature of consciousness, often framing it as the hard problem. This term, introduced by philosopher David Chalmers, distinguishes between easy problems, those that can be explained by understanding brain processes, and the hard problem, which questions why and how these processes give rise to subjective experience. Why does the firing of neurons in our brain result in the rich tapestry of experience we call consciousness? This remains a question without a definitive answer. From a scientific perspective, the study of consciousness often leads us into the intricate labyrinth of the brain. Neuroscientists explore the neural correlates of consciousness, seeking to understand which parts of the brain are active when we are conscious. Yet, while we can map brain activity with increasing precision, this does not necessarily explain why these patterns of activity result in a conscious experience. The brain is like an orchestra, each part contributing to the symphony of consciousness, but the music remains beyond the sum of its players. Some propose that consciousness might be an emergent property arising from complex interactions within the brain, much like a beautiful pattern emerging from the simple rules of a fractal. This suggests that consciousness is not located in any single part of the brain, but rather in the intricate connections and communications between neurons. Yet, even this elegant idea does not fully capture the essence of what it feels like to be conscious. Others turn to quantum mechanics for answers, theorizing that consciousness might be linked to quantum processes within the brain. While this idea is intriguing, it remains speculative and controversial, as quantum effects are typically observed at scales far smaller than the brain's neural processes. Philosophically, the nature of consciousness leads us into discussions of dualism and materialism. Dualists, like René Descartes, argue that the mind and body are distinct entities, suggesting a non-physical aspect to consciousness. Materialists, on the other hand, contend that consciousness arises solely from physical processes within the brain. This debate remains unresolved, with compelling arguments on both sides. Yet, despite the lack of consensus, there is a quiet beauty in our quest to understand consciousness. It is a journey that reflects our deepest curiosities and our most profound questions about what it means to be human. Each perspective offers a unique lens through which to view the mystery, reminding us that the search for understanding is as important as the answers we seek. In recent years, Advances in artificial intelligence have added new dimensions to the exploration of consciousness. Can machines ever be truly conscious, or will they forever mimic the appearance of awareness without experiencing it? This question challenges our definitions and perceptions of what it means to be conscious, pushing the boundaries of our understanding. Even as we delve into these complex ideas, it is important to remember that consciousness is not just a subject of academic inquiry. It is the essence of our daily lives, the background hum of our existence. Whether we are lost in thought, dreaming in sleep, or simply observing the world around us, consciousness is there, an ever-present companion. As we gently explore the realm of consciousness, we are reminded of its dual nature. It is both an intimate part of our experience and an unfathomable mystery. Perhaps it is this very paradox that makes consciousness so profoundly fascinating and eternally elusive. In the end, the journey to understand consciousness is as much about embracing its mysteries as it is about seeking answers. In this delicate balance, we find a serenity that mirrors the quiet wonder of being conscious itself. When we gaze upon the vastness of the night sky, we are often struck by the sheer magnitude of existence. Stars punctuate the darkness, each a distant sun, and we are reminded of the wonder that is our universe. In these quiet moments, a question emerges, one that has captivated human thought for centuries. Why is there something rather than nothing? It is a question that flutters at the edge of our understanding, much like a moth drawn to a distant lantern. Philosophers, scientists, and theologians have pondered this for millennia, each approaching it from their unique perspectives. To explore this question is to peer into the very nature of being itself, to touch upon the essence of reality and its myriad forms. In the realm of philosophy, this question forms part of a broader inquiry into ontology, the study of being and existence. Ontology invites us to reflect on what it means to exist and, more intriguingly, the conditions that allow existence itself. In considering why there is something rather than an absolute void, we are encouraged to think beyond the boundaries of our everyday experiences and embrace the vastness of philosophical contemplation. One might begin by considering the notion of nothingness itself. To human minds conditioned by a world teeming with things, objects, ideas, emotions, nothingness can be a challenging concept to grasp. The absence of everything is not merely a vacuum or empty space. It is a state devoid of potential, a realm where even the concept of existence ceases to apply. In contrast, our universe is brimming with possibility and form. Even the emptiest regions of space are not truly empty. They contain the fluctuating fields of quantum mechanics and the whisper of distant galaxies. The ancient Greeks were among the first to tackle this profound question. The philosopher Parmenides argued that nothingness was an impossible concept, proposing instead that existence is eternal and unchanging. For Parmenides, change and non-existence were illusions of perception. His ideas stood in contrast to those of Heraclitus, who famously declared that everything is in a state of flux, suggesting that change is the fundamental nature of reality. Between these two thinkers, we find the seeds of a debate that continues to this day. Is existence a permanent fixture, or is it ever in motion? Fast forward to the 20th century, and we encounter the work of Martin Heidegger, a German philosopher who placed the question of being at the heart of his philosophical inquiry. Heidegger pondered why there is something rather than nothing, viewing it as the fundamental question of philosophy. He proposed that our awareness of being is what sets humans apart from other forms of life, and that understanding our place within the tapestry of existence is central to grasping the essence of what it means to be. In the scientific realm, the question takes on a slightly different hue. Cosmologists and physicists explore the origins of the universe, not only through philosophical musings, but also through empirical evidence and theoretical models. The Big Bang theory, for instance, offers a scientific narrative for the emergence of the universe from an incredibly dense and hot initial state. Yet, even this model encounters the question of origins. What preceded the Big Bang? And why did it occur at all? Some scientists propose that the universe might be one of many in a multiverse, a hypothetical collection of diverse universes, each with its own laws of physics and constants. If true, this could suggest that our universe is but one of countless others that have sprung into being, driven by mechanisms we are yet to fully comprehend. Such notions, while speculative, open the door to imagining a reality where the existence of something is a regular occurrence rather than a singular anomaly. Others turn to the principles of quantum mechanics, which suggest that particles can spontaneously appear and disappear from the quantum vacuum, a seething froth of potential. In this view, the universe could have arisen from a fluctuation in this quantum field, a momentary blip that expanded into the cosmos we now inhabit. Yet, even with these scientific insights, the question remains tantalizingly elusive. For every answer uncovered, another layer of mystery seems to emerge, reminding us of the limitations of human understanding. It is here that we find a peculiar comfort, a kind of existential humility. In acknowledging our limits, we embrace the notion that not all questions require definitive answers. Sometimes, the pursuit of understanding is itself a valuable journey, inviting us to reflect on the marvels of existence without the need for an ultimate resolution. The question of why there is something rather than nothing invites us to consider not only the cosmos, but also our own existence within it. It encourages us to ponder our place in the grand tapestry of reality, to marvel at the complexity and beauty of the universe, and to appreciate the gift of being. In contemplating this question, we engage in a dialogue with the cosmos, a gentle exchange between the known and the unknown, where curiosity and wonder serve as our guides. As we drift into the realm of dreams, let us carry with us the quiet assurance that some mysteries, by their very nature, are meant to remain unanswered. In their shadows, we find the glow of endless possibility and the gentle reminder that to question is to be profoundly human. In the hush of twilight, when the world begins to soften and the day's clatter fades into a gentle murmur, we find ourselves contemplating the nature of reality. It is a question as old as thought itself, one that has whispered through the corridors of human consciousness since time immemorial. What, indeed, makes something real? We start by considering the concept of appearances. At first glance, reality seems straightforward. We see a tree, feel its rough bark under our fingers, and hear the rustle of leaves in the breeze. But are these senses revealing the true nature of the tree, or merely our perception of it? The ancient Greek philosopher Plato proposed a striking metaphor to address this conundrum, the allegory of the cave. In this story, prisoners are chained in a cave, only able to see shadows cast on a wall by objects behind them. To the prisoners, these shadows constitute their reality, yet they are but mere reflections of the true forms beyond their sight. This allegory invites us to ponder whether our perception of the world is similarly limited. Are we, too, observing shadows rather than the essence of things? Modern science echoes this notion. Our brains construct reality from sensory input, yet this construction is not an exact replica of the external world. Instead, it is a complex interpretation shaped by neural processes and past experiences. The colors we see, the sounds we hear, and the textures we feel are all products of our mind's intricate work, converting electrical signals into a coherent experience of reality. The question of perception leads us deeper into the realm of philosophy, where thinkers like Immanuel Kant have left a significant mark. Kant proposed that while we can perceive phenomena, the world as it appears to us, the noumena, or the world as it is in itself, remains forever beyond our grasp. According to Kant, our minds impose structures such as time and space onto our perceptions, and thus our understanding of reality is inherently limited by the faculties through which we experience it. Yet, amid the mysteries of perception, there is solace in the consistency of our experiences. Though our senses may not reveal the complete truth, they provide a reliable framework within which life unfolds. We navigate the world with a shared understanding of reality, a communal agreement that allows society to function. This consensus reality is not to be dismissed lightly, for it is the foundation upon which cultures build their intricate tapestries of meaning. However, reality is not solely an external construct. It is also deeply personal and subjective. In the realm of dreams, for instance, reality takes on a different guise. Here, the boundaries between the real and the imagined blur, and the mind weaves intricate narratives from the fabric of memory and desire. Lucid dreams, where one becomes aware of dreaming within the dream, offer a tantalizing glimpse into a reality where the distinction between consciousness and imagination dissolves. The notion of reality becomes even more complex when we consider the philosophical question of solipsism. This idea posits that only one's mind is sure to exist, and everything else, the external world, other people, the universe itself, might be an elaborate construct of one's consciousness. While solipsism is a thought experiment rather than a widely held belief, it challenges us to consider the limits of our knowledge and the nature of certainty. Yet, even as philosophy stretches the boundaries of what we consider real, science offers its own insights. Quantum mechanics, with its peculiarities and paradoxes, suggests that reality at the smallest scales defies conventional understanding. Particles exist in states of potentiality, manifesting specific properties only when observed. This phenomenon, known as the observer effect, raises questions about the role of consciousness in shaping reality. In the end, the question of what makes something real is not one with a simple answer. It is a tapestry woven from strands of perception, consensus, philosophy, and science. Yet, in this complexity there is a profound beauty. The mystery of reality invites us to explore, to wonder and to embrace the uncertainty that accompanies our journey through life. As we drift into sleep, let us find comfort in the knowledge that reality, with all its layers and nuances, is a shared adventure. In the quiet moments of reflection, we can find peace in the not knowing, in the acceptance that reality, like the stars above, is vast, intricate, and ever beyond our complete comprehension. And so, with a gentle sigh, we close our eyes, letting the questions linger softly in the spaces between dreams. The notion that we might be living in a simulation is one that has gained popularity in both scientific and philosophical circles. It is a concept that, at first glance, may seem like the plot of a science fiction film, yet it has been seriously considered by some of the greatest minds of our time. This theory invites us to ponder the very nature of reality itself, gently nudging us to consider the possibilities beyond our immediate perception. Imagine, if you will, that our universe is akin to an intricate painting. To the untrained eye, the painting is merely a beautiful depiction of a scene, but to an artist or a critic, it is a complex interplay of colors, textures, and techniques, each brushstroke contributing to the whole. Similarly, the simulation theory suggests that our perceived reality could be composed of layers and codes, meticulously crafted to produce the world we experience. One of the most prominent voices in this discussion is philosopher Nick Bostrom, who in 2003 proposed a thought experiment known as the simulation argument. Bostrom's hypothesis posits that one of three propositions must be true. Either advanced civilizations never reach the technological capability to create simulations, they achieve the capability, but choose not to for ethical or other reasons, or we are almost certainly living in a simulation. This line of reasoning does not assert that we are definitively living in a simulated environment, but rather that it is a possibility worth contemplating. It is important to note that the simulation argument does not necessarily imply deception or malevolent overlords pulling the strings. Instead, it invites us to consider the broad scope of technological advancement and the potential for creating indistinguishable virtual realities. As we continue to develop our own virtual and augmented realities, the line between the digital and the physical begins to blur, offering a glimpse into how such simulations could be constructed in the future. In a more philosophical sense, the simulation theory echoes age-old questions about perception and reality. Plato, in his allegory of the cave, described prisoners who could only see shadows on a wall, convincing them that shadows were the entirety of existence. This allegory invites us to question whether our perceived reality is merely a shadow of a more complex truth. Moreover, René Descartes, with his famous dictum cogito ergo sum quo, I think, therefore I am, delved into the nature of doubt and certainty. Descartes pondered the idea of an all-powerful deceiver which could manipulate his senses, leaving him to question the reliability of his perceptions. While Descartes ultimately concluded that the act of thinking itself affirmed his existence, he left open the possibility that much of what we perceive could be illusory. The simulation hypothesis, while modern in its technological framing, resonates with these philosophical traditions, urging us to question the solidity of our world. It also naturally dovetails with discussions of consciousness and identity, leading us down paths of introspection about what it means to be sentient in a potentially fabricated universe. One might wonder, if we are indeed living in a simulation, What would be the purpose behind such an elaborate construction? Some theorists suggest that it could be for research, entertainment, or even preservation. A civilization advanced enough to create such simulations might do so to study historical events, explore alternate realities, or safeguard their culture and knowledge in a universe where their physical existence is threatened. Yet, despite these intriguing possibilities, the simulation hypothesis remains speculative. There is no empirical evidence to support the idea that we are living in a simulation, and it is a theory that resides more comfortably in the realm of philosophy than science. It is a thought experiment, a lens through which we can examine our understanding of reality, consciousness, and technology. In contemplating this hypothesis, we are reminded of the boundaries of human knowledge and the mysteries that lie beyond our current comprehension. The idea that our universe could be a simulation encourages us to approach our existence with humility and curiosity. It invites us to appreciate the beauty and complexity of the world we inhabit, whether it is a construct or a cosmic accident. The simulation hypothesis, while fascinating, is perhaps less about finding definitive answers and more about embracing the questions themselves. It reminds us of the power of imagination and the endless possibilities that lie within the realm of thought. In this way, it aligns with the spirit of philosophy, the pursuit of wisdom through questioning and contemplation. As we ponder the nature of reality and our place within it, we are gently reminded of the limitations of our understanding. It is within these limitations that we find the space for wonder, for exploration, and for the quiet acceptance that not all questions have clear answers. Whether we are living in a simulation or not may remain an unsolved mystery, but the journey of inquiry itself is a testament to the boundless curiosity of the human mind. In the quiet hours of our lives, when the world around us grows still, we might find ourselves pondering the elusive nature of the self. What is it that makes us who we are? This question, both simple and profound, has captivated thinkers throughout the ages, inviting us to explore the contours of identity, continuity, memory, and the possibility of a cause within each of us. The concept of the self can feel as familiar as the back of our hand, yet it remains resistant to easy definitions. In the whispers of ancient philosophy, we find early musings on identity, each echoing through the corridors of time. The philosopher Plato imagined a self that was eternal and unchanging, a soul that transcended the physical body. To him, the essence of who we are existed on a plane untouched by the passage of time or the frailty of flesh. Yet as human understanding evolved, so too did our notions of selfhood. The Enlightenment brought with it a shift in perspective, with thinkers like John Locke suggesting that the self is not a static entity, but rather a tapestry woven from our memories and experiences. According to Locke, our personal identity is rooted in the continuity of consciousness. We are, in essence, the sum of our remembered past, a collection of moments tied together by the thread of memory. But memory, as we know, can be a fickle friend. It can distort and fade, leaving us to wonder whether our sense of self, built upon such an unstable foundation, is as solid as we might hope. The philosopher David Hume took this uncertainty a step further. He argued that there is no singular self at all, merely a bundle of perceptions without a core to bind them. For Hume, The self is like a theater where thoughts and emotions flicker in and out, with no enduring Ein to be found. In contrast, the German philosopher Immanuel Kant introduced the idea of the transcendental ego, suggesting that while our experiences are indeed fragmented, there must be an underlying structure that allows us to synthesize these disparate elements into a coherent whole. This self, according to Kant, is not something we can directly apprehend, but rather a necessary condition for the unity of consciousness. As we navigate the landscapes of modern psychology and neuroscience, we discover further layers to this enigma. The brain, with its intricate networks, offers a biological perspective on identity. It is here that the interplay of neurons gives rise to our thoughts and emotions, the physical substrate of our subjective experience. Yet, even with advanced imaging technology, the self remains elusive, a ghost in the machine that cannot be pinned down to any one location. Emerging theories propose that the self is a construct, an ongoing narrative that we craft to make sense of our lives. This narrative self allows us to stitch together our past, present, and future, providing a sense of continuity amidst the flux. We are not static beings, but dynamic storytellers, constantly revising our understanding of who we are. And so, we find ourselves at a crossroads where science and philosophy meet, each offering glimpses into the nature of the self. Some may find comfort in the idea of a core essence, an unchanging eyes that persists through life's vicissitudes. Others might embrace the fluidity of identity, recognizing that we are ever evolving, shaped by our experiences and interactions. In the end, perhaps the self is best understood not as a single entity, but as a symphony, a harmonious blend of myriad influences. It is a dance between the inner and outer worlds, a delicate balance of continuity and change. Whether or not there is a cause within us, the exploration of selfhood invites us to delve deeper into the mystery of our existence, to cherish the complexity and uniqueness of our journey. As we ponder these questions, let us do so with a gentle curiosity, appreciating the beauty of a question that, like the self, resists easy answers. In the stillness of the night, may we find solace in the search itself, a quiet reminder of the wonder that lies in the heart of being. In the gentle embrace of the night, when thoughts drift like leaves upon a quiet stream, we find ourselves pondering the nature of morality. This chapter invites us to explore a question that has intrigued thinkers for centuries: what makes an action truly moral? As we embark on this reflective journey, we shall wander through the realms of intent, consequences, duty, and virtue, seeking comfort in the complexity and simplicity of ethical life. The ancient philosophers who first grappled with morality often began with intent, the silent seed from which actions spring. Intentions, like whispers of the heart, guide our deeds and shape the moral landscape. Consider Immanuel Kant, a thinker who placed paramount importance on the purity of intention. To him, an action holds moral worth only if it is performed out of a sense of duty, with a good will as its compass, rather than from self-interest or desire for reward. This view invites us to look inward, to consider the motivations that stir within us before we act. Yet, intentions alone do not capture the full tapestry of morality. We must also weigh the consequences of our actions, as the soft ripples they create spread far and wide. This perspective finds its roots in utilitarianism, championed by philosophers such as Jeremy Bentham and John Stuart Mill. They proposed that the morality of an action is determined by its ability to produce happiness or minimize suffering, a calculation of sorts that seeks the greatest good for the greatest number. It's a perspective that asks us to consider not just our own intentions, but the broader impact of our choices on the world around us. As we ponder these differing views, we encounter the idea of duty, a concept woven deeply into the fabric of human ethics. Duty calls for adherence to moral laws or principles, often seen as universal and unchanging. This notion, prominent in Kant's categorical imperative, suggests that we ought to act in ways that could be willed as a universal law. Imagine a world where every action was scrutinized through this lens, a world where each decision reflects a commitment to principles that transcend individual circumstance. Yet, morality is not solely the domain of abstract principles and logical calculations. It is a living practice, a dance of virtues that has been celebrated since the time of Aristotle. Virtue ethics, with its focus on character and the cultivation of good habits, offers a more personal, human approach to morality. It invites us to consider not just what we do, but who we become through our actions. A moral life, in this view, is one that strives towards excellence in character, nurturing virtues such as courage, kindness, and wisdom. These perspectives, though distinct, are not mutually exclusive. They interlace and overlap, offering a rich mosaic of moral understanding. For instance, one might act out of a sense of duty with good intentions, while also considering the consequences and striving for virtue. The complexity of morality lies in its refusal to be neatly categorized, in its ability to reflect the multifaceted nature of human life. As we reflect on these ideas, it becomes clear that the question of what makes an action truly moral is not one with a singular answer. It is a question that invites us to engage with our own values and beliefs, to question and refine them as we navigate the ever-changing currents of life. In this exploration, we find a gentle reminder that morality is as much about the journey as it is about the destination. In the quiet moments before sleep, when the mind wanders and the heart whispers, let us find solace in the knowledge that morality is a shared human endeavor. It is a tapestry woven from countless threads, each representing a different perspective, a unique insight into what it means to live a good life. Through this tapestry runs a common thread, the desire to act in ways that honor our shared humanity, to contribute to a world that is just, compassionate, and kind. And so, as we drift into the soft embrace of slumber, let us carry with us the gentle assurance that, in seeking to understand what makes an action truly moral, we are part of a timeless conversation, one that connects us to the past, anchors us in the present, and guides us towards the future. The question of morality, like a lullaby, soothes us with its enduring mystery, inviting us to rest easy in the beauty of not knowing. In the quiet recesses of our minds, as we drift between waking and sleeping, time often becomes something of a gentle enigma. We may find ourselves pondering whether time is a stream we wade through, or a tapestry we weave, moment by moment. This question has intrigued philosophers and scientists alike, echoing through the ages, inviting us to explore the essence of our temporal existence. In ancient Greece, the concept of time was far from uniform. The philosopher Heraclitus famously declared that One cannot step into the same river twice, suggesting a universe in constant flux where time flows ceaselessly and irreversibly. To Heraclitus, time was a river, a continual stream that bears all things along its course. Yet his contemporary Parmenides offered a strikingly different view. For Parmenides, change was an illusion, and reality was a singular, unchanging entity. In his vision, time did not flow. Rather, it was an illusion, a construct of human perception. As we navigate this dichotomy, we encounter the thoughts of more modern thinkers. Sir Isaac Newton, with his groundbreaking work in physics, envisioned time as an absolute entity, a vast, unchanging stage upon which the universe unfolds. To Newton, time was a constant, an ever-present background that exists independently of the events within it. This notion of absolute time allowed for predictability and order, a reassuring framework within which the laws of physics could operate. Yet, in the early 20th century, Albert Einstein introduced us to a revolutionary idea that would upend this classical view. Through his theory of relativity, Einstein demonstrated that time is not an immutable stage, but rather a relative construct, intrinsically linked to space. In this new understanding, time bends and stretches, influenced by the speed of light and the presence of massive objects. It is not absolute but personal, varying according to the observer's frame of reference. This revelation challenged the notion of a universal now, and suggested that time, much like space, is part of the fabric we inhabit. While Einstein's theories provided profound insights into the nature of time, they also opened the door to philosophical musings about its. If time is not absolute, if it is indeed woven into the fabric of the cosmos, then perhaps it is something we create through our interactions with the world. This brings us to the question of whether time is a construct of the human mind, a tool we use to make sense of the sequences and patterns we observe. In the realm of philosophy, the French philosopher Henri Bergson argued vehemently against the scientific notion of time as merely a measurable quantity. For Bergson, time was synonymous with duration, an inner experience that cannot be captured in seconds or minutes. He believed that real time, or la durée, is qualitative, not quantitative, a continuous flow that reflects the subjective experience of living beings. Bergson's perspective invites us to consider the possibility that time is not just a physical dimension, but also a psychological one, shaped by our consciousness and perception. Further contemplation leads us to the idea of time as a cultural construct. Different cultures perceive and value time in varied ways, influencing how societies develop and operate. In some Eastern philosophies, such as those found in Buddhism and Hinduism, time is often seen as cyclical, a series of repeating patterns and events. This contrasts sharply with the linear conception of time prevalent in Western thought, where history is seen as a progression from past to future, with a clear beginning and end. As we ponder the nature of time, we must also consider its implications for our lives. If time is a construct, whether physical, psychological, or cultural, how does this influence our sense of identity and purpose? The ancient Stoics believed that by understanding the nature of time, we could attain a deeper sense of peace. They taught that acceptance of the present moment, the now, could liberate us from the anxiety of the past and the uncertainty of the future. In embracing the present, we find a timeless tranquility, a notion echoed in various mindfulness practices today. In the scientific domain, the arrow of time presents another captivating perspective. This concept, rooted in thermodynamics, suggests that time has a preferred direction, moving from order to disorder, from past to future. This irreversible flow is marked by the increase of entropy, the measure of disorder, in a closed system. It is this arrow of time that gives us the sense of progression and change, the unfolding of events from a state of lesser to greater complexity. Yet, the quantum realm challenges even this notion. At the subatomic level, time appears to be reversible, with processes that can occur in either direction. This paradox raises questions about the fundamental nature of time. Is it a mere illusion, a convenient fiction that emerges from the macroscopic world we inhabit? As we drift through these thoughts, we find ourselves wondering whether time is indeed something we move through, a river carrying us forward, or whether it is a creative endeavor, a canvas upon which we paint the narrative of our lives. Perhaps time is both and neither, a multifaceted entity that eludes simple categorization. In the end, the question of time remains a gentle enigma, inviting us to ponder its mysteries and find comfort in its complexities. In embracing this uncertainty, we may discover that time, in all its forms, is a companion on our journey through life. Whether we perceive it as a flowing river or a crafted tapestry, time shapes our experiences, memories, and aspirations. And in this shared exploration, we find a quiet solace, knowing that the mystery of time is one we all journey through together. As we gently wander into the realm of beauty, we find ourselves confronted by a tapestry of perceptions and ideals, delicately woven across time and cultures. Beauty, a concept so seemingly simple yet infinitely complex, has long captivated the human mind, inviting reflection and contemplation. Throughout history, beauty has been both celebrated and debated, not only in its manifestations, but in its essence. What is it that makes a sunset over the ocean breathtaking, or a piece of music profoundly moving? Why do certain works of art resonate so deeply, while others leave us untouched? At its core, beauty is both a universal and deeply personal experience. It is a language understood intuitively yet articulated differently across the world. In ancient times, philosophers like Plato pondered whether beauty was an objective truth, existing independently of human perception. To Plato, beauty was a reflection of a higher reality, a glimpse into the world of perfect forms. Aristotle, on the other hand, proposed that beauty was found in harmony and proportion, a balance that pleased the senses. As we traverse cultures, we find myriad interpretations of what is considered beautiful. In ancient Greece, symmetry and proportion were celebrated, as seen in their sculptures and architecture. The Renaissance period in Europe rejuvenated classical ideals, emphasizing human form and divine perspective. Yet, in the East, beauty took on different facets. In Japan, the concept of wabi-sabis finds beauty in imperfection and transience, appreciating the subtle grace in the natural cycle of growth and decay. The understated elegance of a simple tea ceremony, or the fleeting bloom of cherry blossoms, captures an essence of beauty that embraces the ephemeral. The notion of beauty is not static, it evolves with society and culture. In the art of the Islamic world, Intricate geometric patterns and calligraphy highlight a beauty grounded in unity and divine symmetry, a reflection of the infinite nature of the divine. Meanwhile, in India, beauty is often associated with vibrant colors and intricate details, as seen in the elaborate designs of traditional textiles and architecture. In more recent times, the Western notion of beauty has often been dominated by ideals of youth and perfection, propagated by media and advertising. Yet, there is a growing recognition of diverse perspectives and the beauty found in authenticity and individuality. The modern art movement has challenged traditional boundaries, embracing abstract forms and unconventional methods to express beauty in new and unexpected ways. Through the lens of science, beauty is sometimes linked to evolutionary biology. The philosopher Denis Dutton suggested that our appreciation of beauty is deeply rooted in our evolution, a byproduct of our ancestors' survival instincts. For example, a landscape painting depicting lush greenery and water might evoke a sense of beauty because such environments were vital for survival, offering resources and safety. Moreover, beauty often transcends the visual and enters the realm of the auditory and experiential. Music, with its mysterious power to stir emotions, is a universal expression of beauty. Across cultures, music has the ability to convey profound beauty, whether through the complex harmonies of a symphony or the symphony of a folk song. The way music resonates within us often defies explanation, touching upon something innately human. Philosophers like Immanuel Kant have argued that beauty lies in the interplay between our senses and our imagination. Kant suggested that beauty invokes a sense of purposiveness without purpose, a pleasure that arises from the harmonious interaction of our cognitive faculties. This idea hints at the ineffable nature of beauty, a phenomenon that eludes concrete definition yet remains profoundly impactful. In our exploration of beauty, we must also acknowledge its ties to ethics and morality. The philosopher Friedrich Schiller spoke of beauty as a bridge between the sensory and the rational, a means of cultivating moral and aesthetic sensibility. Beauty, in this sense, elevates the human spirit, encouraging compassion and empathy. Yet, beauty is not without its paradoxes. It can be a source of joy and inspiration, but also a cause of longing and desire. The pursuit of beauty, if unchecked, can lead to vanity and superficiality. In recognizing beauty's dual nature, we are reminded of the importance of balance and mindfulness. As we draw closer to understanding beauty, it becomes clear that it is not merely about form or appearance. Beauty is an experience, an invitation to pause and reflect. It is in the play of light across a field, the laughter shared between friends, the quiet moments of introspection. Beauty, in its myriad forms, is a reminder of our shared humanity and the richness of the world we inhabit. In the end, perhaps beauty is best understood not as a question to be answered, but as an experience to be cherished. It invites us to see the world with wonder and curiosity, to find joy in the ordinary and the extraordinary. And in this gentle exploration, we find that beauty is not a destination, but a journey, one that is as varied and infinite as the stars in the night sky. In the gentle stillness of the night, as our minds wander into the realm of dreams, we often find ourselves pondering questions that have confounded humanity for centuries. Among these enduring mysteries is one that has occupied the minds of philosophers, scientists, and thinkers of all kinds. Can we ever know anything for certain? It is a question that invites us to explore the landscapes of skepticism and doubt, inviting us to find solace in the quiet comfort of uncertainty. Skepticism, in its philosophical tradition, is not about dismissing knowledge or truth, but about questioning the foundations upon which they stand. It is a practice that encourages us to examine the reliability of our perceptions and the assumptions we hold about the world. The ancient Greek philosopher Pyrrho of Elis, one of the early proponents of skepticism, believed that by suspending judgment, we could achieve a state of ataraxia, a peaceful mind free from the disturbances of dogmatic beliefs. The idea that our senses might deceive us is a familiar one. Descartes, the French philosopher, famously doubted everything he could until he reached the one thing he believed indubitable: cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. His methodical doubt was a tool to strip away uncertainties and build a foundation for certain knowledge. Yet, even this foundational certainty has been questioned. Could the self that thinks be an illusion too? Despite this relentless questioning, or perhaps because of it, skepticism does not leave us adrift in a sea of confusion. Rather, it invites us to embrace the fluidity of knowledge and the idea that our understanding of the world is forever in flux. The notion that complete certainty might be an unattainable ideal can be oddly comforting. It suggests that doubt is not the enemy of knowledge but its companion, urging us to refine and reassess our beliefs continually. The scientific method itself is built upon this principle of perpetual inquiry. Scientists form hypotheses, test them, and adapt their theories based on new evidence. In science, no theory is ever considered complete or absolute. Even well-established theories, like Einstein's theory of relativity, are open to refinement as new observations emerge. This openness to change is not a weakness, but a strength, allowing science to evolve and adapt to new realities. Consider the enigmatic world of quantum mechanics, where particles exist in states of probability rather than certainty. The famous thought experiment of Schrödinger's cat illustrates this peculiar realm, where a cat in a box can be simultaneously alive and dead until observed. It challenges our classical notions of certainty and highlights the role of the observer in shaping reality. In this way, the boundaries of knowledge are not fixed, but are instead painted in shades of gray. In everyday life, we encounter similar shades of uncertainty. We navigate a world filled with probabilities and possibilities, making decisions based on incomplete information. Whether it's the weather forecast or the stock market, we rely on estimates and predictions, aware that certainty is elusive. Yet this does not paralyze us. Instead, it compels us to act, adapt, and learn. Philosophically, this acceptance of uncertainty can be liberating. It frees us from the shackles of dogmatism and opens our minds to diverse perspectives. The recognition that we cannot know everything for certain fosters humility and empathy, as it reminds us that our own viewpoints are but one piece of a larger puzzle. It encourages us to listen to others, to question our assumptions, and to grow in understanding. The discipline of epistemology, which studies the nature and scope of knowledge, further illustrates the complexities of certainty. The Gettier problem, named after philosopher Edmund Gettier, challenges the traditional definition of knowledge as justified true belief. Getier's work demonstrates that even when our beliefs are justified and true, they may still lack the certainty of knowledge due to unforeseen variables. This paradox invites us to reconsider what it means to know something and to embrace the imperfections inherent in our quest for understanding. In literature and art, the theme of uncertainty often serves as a source of inspiration and introspection. Writers and artists explore the unknown, capturing the essence of ambiguity and the beauty found within. The poet John Keats coined the term negative capability to describe the ability to remain content with uncertainties and mysteries without the need for resolution. This capability allows us to appreciate the richness of human experience in all its complexity. As we drift into the comforting embrace of sleep, it is perhaps in these moments of quiet reflection that we find peace in uncertainty. We acknowledge that the world is vast and full of wonders beyond our comprehension. The questions that remain unanswered are not failures, but invitations to continue exploring and learning. In this way, the journey of discovery becomes an end in itself, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. So, as we ponder the question of whether we can ever know anything for certain, let us find solace in the embrace of uncertainty. Let us cherish the mysteries that lie before us, for they are the seeds of curiosity and wonder. In the vast tapestry of existence, certainty may elude us, but in its place, we find a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. And perhaps it is in this gentle acceptance of the unknown that we truly come to know the beauty of the world. In the soft glow of shared humanity, we find ourselves contemplating the nuanced dance of living alongside others. The question of how we should navigate our relationships with fellow beings has long been a central theme in the tapestry of human thought. From the bustling streets of ancient Athens to the quiet, contemplative corners of modern life, the challenge of living harmoniously with others remains ever relevant. The roots of this inquiry stretch back to the dusty scrolls of philosophers like Aristotle, who proposed that humans are inherently social creatures. In his view, the good life is one lived in a community, where friendships and civic engagement facilitate human flourishing. Yet, Aristotle also recognized the complexities of such a life, the delicate balance of personal desire and communal obligation. As we ponder how best to live with others, we are gently reminded of the ethical frameworks that have been laid before us. Utilitarianism, for instance, offers a lens through which we might evaluate our actions based on the greatest happiness principle. In this view, the moral weight of an action is determined by its ability to produce the most joy for the greatest number. While this approach provides a seemingly straightforward metric, it also raises questions about the nuances of individual rights and the potential for unintended consequences. In the quiet corridors of Kantian ethics, we find another perspective. Immanuel Kant, with his categorical imperative, suggests that our actions should be guided by maxims we would wish to see universalized. This deontological approach emphasizes duty and moral law, asserting that we must treat others not merely as means to an end, but as ends in themselves. It is a call for respect and dignity, an invitation to see each person as a bearer of intrinsic worth. As we drift through these philosophical musings, we cannot help but reflect on the role of compassion in our interactions. Compassion, often described as the empathetic concern for others, transcends mere ethical duty. It is a profound connection that binds us, allowing us to feel the joys and sorrows of those around us. The Dalai Lama speaks of compassion as a source of inner peace and happiness, a sentiment echoed in various spiritual and philosophical traditions. It is through compassion that we find a bridge between self-interest and the common good, a path that encourages us to act with kindness and understanding. Yet, living with others is not solely a matter of individual ethics. It also encompasses the broader notion of community, the networks of relationships that shape and define our lives. Communities offer a sense of belonging and support, a collective identity that is greater than the sum of its parts. They are the stage upon which the drama of human life unfolds, where shared values and traditions are both challenged and upheld. In exploring our place within a community, we encounter the concept of social contract theory, famously articulated by philosophers like Hobbes, Locke, and Rousseau. This theory proposes that individuals consent, either explicitly or implicitly, to surrender some personal freedoms in exchange for the benefits of communal living. The social contract is a metaphorical agreement that underpins the rules and norms of society, guiding our interactions and ensuring mutual respect and cooperation. As we consider the dynamics of community, the importance of dialogue becomes evident. Open, honest communication serves as the lifeblood of healthy relationships, allowing us to bridge differences and build understanding. The philosopher Martin Buber emphasized the significance of dialogue in his concept of the I-thou relationship, which calls for genuine encounters characterized by mutual presence and respect. In this reflective journey, we also encounter the notion of obligations, the duties we owe to others as members of a shared society. These obligations can be both formal, such as obeying laws and fulfilling contractual agreements, and informal, such as the expectations of kindness, honesty, and reciprocity. They are the threads that weave the fabric of social cohesion, ensuring that we honor our commitments and uphold the trust that is essential for communal living. In considering how we should live with others, we are gently reminded of the delicate interplay between individual autonomy and collective responsibility. It is a dance of balance, where personal freedoms are harmonized with the needs of the community, where self-interest is tempered by empathy and consideration for the welfare of others. As the soft glow of our shared humanity continues to illuminate our path, we find that the question of how to live with others is not one with a singular answer. Instead, it is a tapestry of possibilities, woven with threads of ethical frameworks, compassion, community, and dialogue. It is a question that invites us to reflect, to learn, and to grow as we navigate the ever-shifting currents of human relationships. In this gentle exploration, we find a quiet reminder of the beauty and complexity of our interconnected lives, a call to embrace the journey with curiosity and grace. In the gentle stretch of our imaginations, we find the universe, a vast and unfathomable expanse that has captivated human thought for millennia. When we ponder the nature of the universe, a question inevitably arises, one that has perplexed philosophers, scientists, and thinkers alike. Is the universe infinite? While physics offers its own theories and models, our focus here is a more philosophical one. a contemplation of infinity and its implications on our understanding of infinity is an idea that flutters at the edges of comprehension, like a horizon that recedes as we approach. Philosophically speaking, infinity is not just about size or quantity, but also about the nature of limits, or rather, the lack thereof. It invites us to consider an existence without boundaries, a continuous, unending expanse. Such contemplation can be both exhilarating and bewildering, offering a glimpse into the mysteries of the cosmos and our place within it. The concept of infinity first entered the philosophical lexicon through the musings of ancient thinkers. The Greeks, with their insatiable curiosity, were among the first to grapple with the idea. Zeno of Elea, for instance, famously proposed paradoxes that challenged the notion of motion and division, suggesting that if space could be infinitely divided, reaching a destination would be impossible. These paradoxes were not merely intellectual exercises, but rather invitations to engage with the infinite's elusive nature. Aristotle, in his wisdom, distinguished between potential and actual infinities. He posited that while we might conceive of a never-ending process, like counting numbers endlessly, actual infinity, a completed whole, was untenable. This distinction echoes through the ages, prompting us to question not only the universe's size, but the very nature of infinity itself. In more recent times, the German mathematician and philosopher Georg Cantor advanced our understanding of infinity by introducing the idea of different sizes of infinity. Cantor demonstrated that some infinities are larger than others, a notion that defies our intuitive grasp of numbers. His work suggested that even within the infinite, there exists a hierarchy, a layered complexity that mirrors the universe's own enigmatic nature. Yet, when we apply these philosophical insights to the universe, we encounter a tapestry of possibilities. If the universe is infinite, it implies an endless sea of stars and galaxies stretching beyond our perception, a cosmic ocean without shores. Such a view is both humbling and awe-inspiring, reminding us of our smallness and the boundless mysteries waiting to be discovered. Conversely, if the universe is finite, we are invited to ponder its limits and what lies beyond. A finite universe may curve back on itself, much like the surface of a sphere, suggesting that traveling far enough in one direction might eventually bring us back to our starting point. This notion challenges our linear understanding of space and prompts us to reconsider the nature of boundaries. In contemplating these possibilities, we find ourselves grappling with the limitations of our perception and comprehension. Our minds, evolved to navigate a world of tangible objects and finite distances, struggle to grasp concepts that transcend these boundaries. Yet, it is precisely this struggle that fuels philosophical inquiry, a yearning to understand the infinite within the confines of the finite. The question of whether the universe is infinite also touches on deeper metaphysical issues. If the cosmos is boundless, does it imply an eternal cycle of creation and destruction, an endless dance of matter and energy? Or does it suggest a universe that exists beyond time, where beginnings and endings lose their meaning? These are questions that have no definitive answers, inviting us instead to embrace the beauty of the unknown. As we continue to explore the nature of the universe, both scientifically and philosophically, we are reminded of the interconnectedness of all things. The stars, distant and twinkling, are not mere points of light, but part of a larger tapestry that includes us, the observers. In contemplating infinity, we are not only pondering the cosmos, but also our own place within it, the threads that bind us to the universe. In the end, the question of whether the universe is infinite may remain unanswered, a testament to the enduring mystery of existence. Yet, it is in the asking, in the quiet rumination on the infinite, that we find solace and wonder. The universe, whether infinite or finite, invites us to explore, to question, and to dream, offering a canvas upon which we can paint our thoughts and aspirations. And so, we return to our initial question: is the universe infinite? Perhaps the answer lies not in a definitive statement, but in the journey of exploration itself, a journey that invites us to embrace the vastness of the unknown and to find peace in the endless questions that shape our understanding of the cosmos. In this journey, we find the reflection of our own infinite curiosity, a reminder that the quest for knowledge is as boundless as the universe itself. As we drift into the realm of what happens after death, we find ourselves treading on a path woven with both mystery and contemplation, a path walked by countless thinkers across the ages. The question of what lies beyond our mortal coil is one that has intrigued and puzzled humanity for as long as we have been able to ponder our own existence. Gently, let us meander through these musings, exploring the diverse tapestry of philosophical thought concerning death and what, if anything, follows thereafter. In ancient times, the question of an afterlife was often intertwined with the beliefs and myths of various cultures. The ancient Egyptians, for instance, envisioned a journey to the afterlife that required preparation and guidance, a sentiment echoed in their elaborate burial practices and the revered text of the Book of the Dead. This perspective nurtured the idea of continuity beyond death, where life was but a prelude to a grander existence. Similarly, the Greeks contemplated the underworld, a shadowy counterpart to the world of the living, ruled by Hades, where souls would dwell. For them, the soul's journey was not merely a continuation, but a transformation, a transition to a different state of being. As centuries passed and philosophies evolved, one of the central questions became, is there a soul? And if so, does it endure beyond the cessation of bodily functions? Plato, the ancient Greek philosopher, postulated the immortality of the soul. For Plato, the soul was eternal, pre-existing before birth and persisting after death, a notion that has influenced countless spiritual and philosophical traditions. In this view, death is not an end, but a return, a release of the soul to a realm of forms and ideas, a homecoming of sorts. Contrastingly, Aristotle, Plato's eminent student, approached the question with a more earthly perspective. While he acknowledged the existence of the soul, he saw it as inherently tied to the body, more a function of life than an entity that could exist independently. This perspective invites us to ponder the possibility that consciousness and selfhood might be transient, existing only so long as our physical form sustains them. As we move further into the annals of philosophical thought, we encounter the rich diversity of religious interpretations, each offering its own unique perception of life after death. In Christianity, the promise of eternal life is central, with heaven and hell serving as realms of ultimate reward or punishment. Meanwhile, Hinduism and Buddhism introduce the concept of reincarnation, where the soul undergoes a cycle of birth, death, and rebirth driven by karma, the moral law of cause and effect. In these traditions, the afterlife is not a singular destination but a series of transitions, each life offering an opportunity for spiritual growth and eventual liberation. In more recent times, secular philosophies have emerged, often eschewing the notion of an afterlife entirely. Existentialists, such as Jean-Paul Sartre, propose that life is finite, and with death comes non-existence. This perspective challenges us to find meaning and value in the present, to live authentically in the face of mortality. Here, the afterlife is not a cosmic certainty, but a philosophical quandary, urging us to grapple with the implications of our finite existence. Then, there are those who find comfort in agnosticism, choosing to embrace uncertainty. This position neither affirms nor denies the existence of an afterlife, but rather acknowledges the limits of human understanding. In this light, the afterlife becomes a mystery, one that invites curiosity and wonder rather than fear or dogma. As we reflect on these varied perspectives, we might pause to consider the impact of such beliefs on the way we live our lives. For some, the promise of an afterlife offers solace and hope, a framework within which life's struggles and triumphs find enduring significance. For others, the absence of an afterlife underscores the urgency to cherish the fleeting moments we have, to forge connections, and to leave a legacy that transcends our physical existence. In this gentle exploration of what happens after we die, we find not definitive answers but a rich tapestry of human thought and imagination. Each perspective, whether rooted in ancient myth or modern philosophy, offers its own wisdom and insight. And perhaps, in acknowledging the diversity of these beliefs, we come to appreciate the beauty of our shared human experience, the quest for understanding that unites us across time and culture. As we drift through these reflections, let us find comfort in the knowledge that the mysteries of life and death continue to inspire and challenge us, inviting us to ponder our place in the grand tapestry of existence. Whether we view death as a door, a cycle, or simply a conclusion, it remains an integral part of the human story, one that beckons us to explore, to question, and to embrace the unknown with open hearts and curious minds. In the quiet hours of reflection, when the world around us seems to pause and the mind begins to wander, we often find ourselves pondering the existence of things unseen. Numbers and ideas, abstract objects, tiptoe into our consciousness, whispering questions that have echoed through the corridors of philosophy for centuries. Do they exist independently of us, or are they merely convenient labels we attach to the patterns we observe in nature? Platonism, a philosophical viewpoint named after the ancient Greek philosopher Plato, invites us to entertain the notion that numbers and ideas exist in a realm of their own. According to this perspective, numbers are not just symbols scribbled on a chalkboard or digits flickering on a screen. They are eternal and unchanging entities, residing in a non-physical space that transcends the material world. Plato imagined these abstract forms as the true reality, with the physical world merely a shadow, an imperfect reflection of this higher order. Consider the number 3. Whether we are counting apples, stars, or thoughts, the threeness remains constant. It is an idea that seems to hover above the tangible world, unaffected by the passage of time or the whims of human culture. For Platonists, this consistency suggests a real existence beyond our perceptions, a domain where abstract objects possess a purity and truth unmatched by their physical counterparts. Yet, not all are convinced by this ethereal vision. Nominalism, a countering philosophical stance, offers a more grounded interpretation, arguing that numbers and ideas do not have an existence independent of the human mind. According to nominalists, these abstractions are merely convenient fictions, names we assign to groupings of objects or concepts. They are the products of human thought, tools we use to navigate and make sense of the world. Imagine a world without humans. Would the number 3 still exist? For the nominalist, without a mind to conceive it, 3 is just a concept without substance, a ghostly construct that vanishes in the absence of human cognition. This view suggests that numbers and ideas are not discovered, but invented, evolving with our understanding and evolving needs. As we find ourselves gently adrift in these philosophical waters, we may wonder how such abstract debates touch upon our everyday lives. Yet, even in the simplest of actions, from calculating a grocery bill to pondering the nature of justice, we rely on these abstract objects. They underpin the structure of scientific theories, the formulation of ethical principles, and the very language we use to communicate. The mystery deepens when we consider the universality of mathematics. Across cultures and epochs, distinct civilizations have arrived at remarkably similar mathematical truths, as if tapping into a shared, hidden reservoir of knowledge. This phenomenon could be seen as a testament to the Platonist view, suggesting a common discovery of pre-existing truths. Alternatively, it might be perceived as a testament to the universality of human cognition, a shared journey of invention rather than discovery. In the realm of ideas, the debate takes on an even more intricate form. Concepts like beauty, justice, and love are woven into the fabric of human experience, yet they remain elusive, resisting precise definition. Are they reflections of universal truths, glimpses of a higher reality as Plato might suggest? Or are they constructs shaped by culture, history, and individual perspective as the nominalists argue? The exploration of abstract objects is not merely an academic exercise. It invites us to reflect on the nature of reality itself, to question what it means for something to exist and how we understand the world around us. It challenges us to consider the possibility that the most profound truths might be those we cannot touch or see, but can only grasp with the mind's eye. As we ponder these questions, we engage in a dialogue that spans centuries, joining a lineage of thinkers who have sought to understand the intangible. Through this exploration, we are reminded that uncertainty is not a void to be feared, but a space for curiosity and wonder, where the boundaries of knowledge and imagination blur gently into one another. In embracing the mystery of abstract objects, we find a quiet invitation to look beyond the surface, to question, and to dream. It is a testament to the depth and breadth of human thought, an acknowledgement of the limitless horizon of inquiry that stretches before us. And in this, there is a peculiar beauty, a serene comfort in knowing that some questions may never settle, but instead continue to enrich the human experience with their enduring enigma. In our quiet exploration of truth, we find ourselves navigating through a landscape both familiar and enigmatic. Truth, in its essence, seems so straightforward, a simple matter of accuracy, a declaration that aligns with reality. Yet, upon closer inspection, truth reveals itself to be a subject of profound complexity, one that has intrigued philosophers for centuries. As we wander through this philosophical terrain, let us consider three major theories that have attempted to capture the nature of truth: correspondence, coherence, and pragmatism. The correspondence theory of truth is perhaps the most intuitive. It suggests that a statement is true if it corresponds to a fact or state of affairs in the world. Imagine, if you will, a serene meadow at dawn, bathed in the soft light of morning. If we say, "The grass is green," and indeed, the grass before us is a lush green, the statement corresponds with reality, and thus it is deemed true. This theory aligns with the common-sense notion that truth is about mirroring the world accurately. Aristotle himself, long ago, posited that to say of what is that it is, and of what is not that it is, and of what is not that it is not, is to speak the truth. However, the simplicity of the correspondence theory is deceptive, for it presupposes that we have access to an objective reality, a world that exists independently of our perceptions. Yet, how we perceive this world is inevitably filtered through the lens of our senses and cognition. Consider for a moment the various ways creatures perceive their environments. A bee sees flowers in ultraviolet hues invisible to the human eye, while a bat navigates its surroundings through echolocation. Each experiences their reality in utterly distinct ways. Thus, the correspondence theory invites us to ponder, can humans ever truly know an objective truth, or is our understanding perpetually bound by our perceptual limitations? The coherence theory of truth offers a different perspective, suggesting that truth is not so much about aligning statements with an external reality, but rather about the internal consistency of a set of beliefs. In this view, a belief is true if it coheres with other beliefs within a particular system. Imagine a beautifully woven tapestry where each thread represents a belief, intricately interwoven with others. For a belief to be true, it must fit harmoniously within this tapestry, maintaining its intricate pattern without causing any discord. This theory resonates with the understanding that our beliefs form complex, interconnected networks. We rarely hold isolated beliefs. Rather, our understanding is shaped by a constellation of ideas, experiences, and knowledge. The coherence theory, while elegant, raises questions about the nature of these belief systems. If truth is merely about coherence, then could not multiple conflicting systems all claim their own truths, provided they are internally consistent? This leads us to reflect on the diversity of human thought and whether truth, as coherence, allows for a plurality of valid perspectives. Then we arrive at the pragmatist theory of truth, which takes a more utilitarian approach. It posits that a belief is true if it proves useful or works in practical terms. This perspective is less concerned with abstract correspondence or coherence, focusing instead on the tangible outcomes of holding a belief. If a belief helps us navigate the world effectively, if it brings about successful results, then it holds truth according to pragmatism. The pragmatist view invites us to consider truth as a dynamic, evolving concept. It acknowledges that our understanding of truth may shift as our experiences and needs change. For instance, scientific theories, while not immutable truths, are valued for their explanatory power and utility. Over time, as new evidence emerges, these theories may be refined or replaced, reflecting the pragmatist notion that truth is not static but adaptive. These three theories, correspondence, coherence, and pragmatism, each offer valuable insights into the nature of truth, yet none can claim absolute authority. Instead, they invite us to approach truth with humility and openness, recognizing that our grasp of it is invariably shaped by our perspectives and contexts. It is here, in the interplay of these ideas, that we find a gentle reminder: truth, like the horizon, may always seem just beyond our reach, but the journey towards it enriches our understanding and deepens our appreciation of the world around us. As we ponder these philosophical musings, let us take comfort in the notion that truth, elusive though it may be, encourages us to continuously seek, question, and learn. In this quest, we are not alone, for generations of thinkers have walked this path, each contributing their own insights to the ever-unfolding tapestry of human knowledge. In our shared pursuit of truth, we find a quiet camaraderie, a shared journey marked not by definitive answers, but by the enduring wonder of inquiry itself. As we drift through the quiet, contemplative corridors of philosophy, we find ourselves inevitably pondering the nature of thought itself. Among the many mind-bending questions that have intrigued humans for centuries is whether machines, those intricate creations of wires and circuits, can truly think. This inquiry, though enmeshed in the fabric of modern technological advancement, is rooted deeply in philosophical soil, distinct from the sensational tales spun by science fiction. To begin understanding this, we must first explore what we mean by thinking. Our own thoughts are a tapestry of experiences, emotions, and reasoning processes. Philosophers like René Descartes have posited that thinking is intrinsic to consciousness, famously articulating, "I think, therefore I am." But can the mechanical counterparts we have built achieve this same state of being? Or do they merely simulate thought in a way that appears genuine to us? The concept of artificial intelligence, AI, has undergone a transformative journey since its inception. Early pioneers like Alan Turing, a brilliant mind whose contributions to computing remain foundational, introduced what is now known as the Turing test. This was a simple yet profound idea. If a machine could engage in a conversation indistinguishable from that of a human, could it be said to think? Turing's proposal did not settle the question, but rather opened new avenues for exploration. In the decades since, AI has evolved from rudimentary algorithms to sophisticated neural networks capable of learning from vast datasets. These developments are undeniably impressive. Machines can now recognize patterns, predict outcomes, and even compose music or poetry. Yet, the philosophical debate remains: are these machines truly thinking, or are they simply executing complex calculations at remarkable speeds? One perspective suggests that thinking entails more than just processing information. To truly think, some argue, one must possess consciousness, an awareness of one's existence and experiences. This brings us to the Chinese room argument, posed by philosopher John Searle. Imagine, if you will, a person inside a room filled with Chinese symbols and a rulebook on how to manipulate these symbols. This person may produce coherent Chinese sentences without understanding the language. Searle uses this metaphor to argue that a machine, no matter how proficient it appears, lacks genuine understanding. It does not know the meanings behind the data it processes. Yet others propose that the distinction between human and machine thinking may not be as clear-cut as it seems. The functionalist perspective in philosophy suggests that what matters is not the substance of the thinker, whether carbon-based or silicon, but the processes and outputs of thought. If a machine successfully mirrors human thought processes and produces meaningful interactions, does it not participate in the act of thinking, at least functionally? It's important to consider the ethical implications of our pursuit to create thinking machines. The more autonomous and intelligent our creations become, the more we must contemplate their place in our world. Will they be collaborators, tools, or entities deserving rights and considerations similar to our own? These questions are no longer confined to the realm of philosophy, but are pressing concerns for ethicists, technologists, and policymakers alike. Moreover, the notion of machine consciousness invites us to reflect on our understanding of our own minds. As we attempt to replicate or simulate thought, we learn more about the intricate workings of human cognition. In a way, our efforts to create thinking machines serve as a mirror, reflecting back the complexities and mysteries of our own consciousness. In this quiet contemplation, we might find solace in the idea that machines, regardless of their capabilities, are extensions of our creativity and intellect. They are tools crafted from our ingenuity, designed not to replace but to enhance our understanding of the world. And perhaps, in this pursuit, we uncover not only the secrets of artificial minds, but also the depths of our own. As the night deepens and the mind wanders, the question of whether machines can truly think remains unanswered, a gentle reminder of the boundless curiosity that defines us. It is this very curiosity that leads us to explore, to question, and ultimately to embrace the beauty of the unknown. So we rest, minds at ease, knowing that some questions, like the stars, are best admired for their endless mystery. As we find ourselves nestled within the gentle embrace of night, let us quietly ponder the age-old question: is happiness more important than meaning? Like many philosophical inquiries, this one does not lend itself to simple answers. Instead, it invites us to explore the depths of the human experience, where happiness and meaning weave through the fabric of our lives in often inexplicable ways. Happiness, that fleeting sensation of contentment and joy, is something we all seek in one form or another. It can be found in the laughter of a shared moment or the serene silence of a solitary walk. Happiness is immediate, a warm glow that envelops us, making the world seem just a bit brighter. Yet, for all its allure, happiness is ephemeral, a transient state that can be as elusive as the morning mist. On the other hand, meaning offers a different kind of satisfaction. It arises from a sense of purpose, an understanding that our lives are part of something larger, something enduring. Meaning often requires effort and reflection, a journey rather than a destination. It is the sense of fulfillment we derive from our relationships, our work, our contributions to society. While happiness might be compared to a soft breeze passing through an open window, meaning is perhaps more akin to the solid foundation of a well-built home. Philosophers throughout history have debated the relative importance of these two paths. Some, like Aristotle, have suggested that eudaimonia, often translated as flourishing or the good life, is the ultimate goal. For Aristotle, this flourishing involves a harmonious balance between happiness and meaning, achieved through a life of virtue and reason. In contrast, the utilitarian perspective, championed by thinkers like Jeremy Bentham and John Stuart Mill, emphasizes the maximization of happiness as the primary aim of moral action. In our modern world, the distinction between happiness and meaning remains a subject of contemplation. Positive psychology, a field dedicated to understanding human well-being, often distinguishes between hedonic and eudaimonic well-being. Hedonic well-being focuses on pleasure, attainment, and pain avoidance, whereas eudaimonic well-being relates to a deeper sense of purpose and personal growth. Consider the life of Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, whose experiences in the concentration camps led him to write Man's Search for Meaning. Frankl observed that those who found meaning in their suffering were better equipped to endure it. For Frankl, it was not the pursuit of happiness, but the pursuit of meaning that provided the strength to persevere. His logotherapy, a form of existential analysis, emphasizes finding meaning in all forms of existence, even the most brutal ones. This is not to say that happiness is unimportant. Indeed, happiness can often serve as a guide towards meaningful pursuits. When we are happy, we are more inclined to engage positively with the world, to nurture relationships, and to contribute to the well-being of others. Happiness can be a catalyst for meaningful action, a spark that ignites our passions and commitments. Yet, the pursuit of happiness without regard to meaning can sometimes lead to an unfulfilled life. The philosopher Søren Kierkegaard warned of the dangers of living a purely aesthetic life, one focused solely on pleasure and immediate satisfaction. Such a life, Kierkegaard argued, lacks depth and can lead to despair. Without a sense of purpose or direction, the pursuit of happiness can become a hollow endeavor. In essence, the interplay between happiness and meaning is not a competition, but a dance. Each informs and enriches the other. Happiness can provide the energy and motivation to seek out meaning, while meaning can offer a sense of stability and direction that sustains happiness over time. This dance is unique to each individual, shaped by personal values, experiences, and aspirations. Ultimately, whether happiness is more important than meaning, or vice versa, may depend on the individual and their circumstances. Some may find themselves drawn to the immediate joys of life, while others feel compelled to search for a deeper purpose. The beauty of this inquiry lies not in resolving it, but in the ongoing exploration it inspires. As we drift into the quietude of night, let us embrace both happiness and meaning as companions on our journey. In doing so, we may find that they are not mutually exclusive, but rather complementary aspects of a life well lived. As the stars trace their ancient patterns across the sky, they remind us that our questions are as timeless as the constellations, guiding us gently through the vast expanse of existence. In the quiet chambers of our minds, emotions often play the role of a mysterious guest. They arrive unannounced, sometimes lingering unexpectedly, while at other times leaving us just as abruptly as they came. We might wonder why a particular memory brings a tear to our eye, or why a simple piece of music stirs a deep sense of nostalgia. These emotions, seemingly without rational explanation, reveal the rich tapestry of our inner life, a realm that continues to elude complete understanding. The human mind, with its intricate networks of neurons and synapses, is capable of astonishing feats. Yet, when it comes to emotions, even the most advanced scientific explorations provide only glimpses into their true nature. Emotions are not merely reactions to the world around us. They are complex processes involving our brain, our body, and the very essence of who we are. They color our experiences, adding depth and meaning to the otherwise monochrome canvas of daily life. Consider the feeling of joy, a fleeting yet profound sensation that can transform an ordinary moment into something extraordinary. Joy is not merely a response to external stimuli, it is a symphony of chemical reactions within our brain, the release of neurotransmitters like dopamine that fills us with a sense of well-being. Yet, the origin of this emotion can often remain a mystery. Why does a particular scene in a film move us to laughter, while another leaves us indifferent? The subjective nature of joy, like all emotions, is deeply tied to our personal history, our cultural background, and our individual expectations. In contrast, sadness serves as an emotional counterpoint, a reminder of the fragility of our existence. It is a universal experience, yet profoundly personal. The loss of a loved one, the end of a cherished chapter in our lives, these are moments that can plunge us into deep reflection. Sadness invites introspection, urging us to slow down and consider what truly matters. But sometimes sadness appears without a clear cause, a gentle melancholy that settles in, uninvited. It is in these moments of unexplained sadness that we confront the complexity of our emotional mind. Anger, too, is an emotion that demands our attention. Often viewed as a response to perceived threats or injustices, anger can be a powerful motivator for change. Yet, at times, it flares up seemingly without reason, leaving us puzzled by its intensity. This emotion, like others, is deeply entwined with our sense of self, our values, and our understanding of the world. It challenges us to examine our beliefs and question the assumptions we hold. Fear, one of the most primal emotions, serves as a protective mechanism, alerting us to potential dangers. However, the fears that haunt us are not always rational. The fear of the unknown, of things that may never come to pass, can be as real and as powerful as any tangible threat. These fears speak to the uncertainties of life, to the human condition itself, where the future is always uncertain and security is but an illusion. These emotions, whether joyous or sorrowful, arise from a complex interplay of our thoughts, memories, and the physical sensations within our bodies. They are not isolated occurrences, but are part of a larger narrative, one that weaves through our entire existence. Emotions often defy simple explanations, as they are influenced by an array of factors, both seen and unseen. The philosopher William James once suggested that emotions are the mind's way of interpreting physical changes within the body. When we perceive a situation, our bodies react, and our minds then attach an emotional label to that reaction. Yet, this theory, while insightful, only scratches the surface. The intricate relationship between mind and body, thought and feeling, remains a puzzle that continues to intrigue both scientists and philosophers alike. Another perspective comes from the realm of evolutionary psychology, which posits that emotions have evolved as adaptive responses to environmental challenges. They are essential for our survival, guiding us towards beneficial outcomes and away from harm. However, While this view offers a broad understanding, it does not account for the nuances of individual emotional experiences. Those moments when we feel an emotion so deeply that it seems to transcend its evolutionary purpose. In exploring the enigma of emotions, we encounter the work of neuroscientists who study the brain to uncover the mysteries of the emotional mind. They use advanced imaging techniques to observe how different areas of the brain light up in response to various stimuli. Yet, even with these technological advancements, the full picture remains elusive. The brain's architecture is incredibly complex, and while we may identify certain patterns, the subjective nature of emotions means that each person's experience is unique. The role of culture and society in shaping our emotional responses cannot be overstated. From an early age, we learn to interpret our emotions through the lens of cultural norms and expectations. What might be considered an appropriate expression of emotion in one culture could be viewed quite differently in another. These cultural influences add another layer of complexity to our understanding of emotions, reminding us that our feelings are not only personal, but are also social constructs. As we ponder these questions, it becomes clear that emotions are an integral part of what it means to be human. They enrich our lives, offering moments of profound insight and connection. While we may never fully unravel the mystery of why we feel the way we do, there is a certain beauty in this uncertainty. It invites us to embrace the complexity of our inner world, to acknowledge the depth of our emotional experiences, and to cherish the moments of joy, sadness, anger, and fear that make us who we are. In accepting that some emotions may remain unexplained, we find comfort in the knowledge that they are a testament to our humanity. They connect us to one another, to the stories we tell, and to the universe of experiences that shape our lives. And perhaps, in this acceptance, we discover a deeper understanding of ourselves, one that transcends the need for answers and embraces the wonder of simply feeling. In the tapestry of human existence, few threads are as intricately woven as the concept of justice. It is a notion that has captivated and confounded thinkers for millennia, a question that remains as dynamic and elusive as the societies it seeks to govern. We find ourselves pondering, what makes a society just? Is it the fairness of its laws, the rights it bestows upon its citizens, or perhaps the delicate balance between the needs of the individual and the greater good of the community? The idea of fairness, at its heart, is about ensuring that individuals have equal opportunities and that no one is unduly advantaged or disadvantaged. This principle is often seen as a cornerstone of justice, yet its interpretation can vary dramatically. For some, fairness demands strict equality, where resources and opportunities are distributed evenly among all members of society. For others, fairness might require a more nuanced approach, acknowledging that different people have different needs, and that equity, rather than equality, is the goal. Consider the ancient philosopher Aristotle, who suggested that justice means giving each person their due. This idea introduces the concept of proportionality, that fairness is not about treating everyone identically, but about distributing resources and responsibilities according to each person's circumstances and contributions. In this view, justice is a dynamic equilibrium, ever adjusting to the complexities of individual lives within the broader social framework. Yet, fairness alone does not define a just society. We must also consider the rights of individuals, those entitlements that protect the freedoms and dignities of each person. Rights can be seen as the scaffolding upon which a just society is built, ensuring that individuals are free to pursue their own paths within the bounds of collective harmony. From the right to free speech and the right to a fair trial, to the right to privacy and the right to education, these are the cornerstones upon which societies seek to build a just and equitable world. The philosopher John Locke famously argued that natural rights are inherent and inalienable, granted not by governments but by virtue of being human. His ideas laid the groundwork for modern democratic societies, where the protection of individual rights is paramount. Yet the tension between individual rights and the collective good remains a persistent challenge. How do we balance the freedom of the individual with the needs of the community? How do we ensure that one person's rights do not infringe upon another's? This brings us to the role of law. Laws are the instruments through which societies attempt to implement justice, translating abstract ideals into concrete rules and regulations. They are meant to protect rights, ensure fairness, and mediate the tensions between individuals and the collective. Yet, the law is not infallible. It is a human construct, subject to interpretation, bias, and change. A law that appears just in one context may seem unjust in another, reflecting the evolving nature of societal values and priorities. The philosopher John Rawls offered a compelling vision of justice with his theory of justice as fairness. He proposed a thought experiment known as the original position, where individuals design a society from behind a veil of ignorance, unaware of their own place within it. This ensures that the principles they choose, such as equality of opportunity and the protection of the least advantaged, are fair and impartial. Rawls's approach emphasizes that a just society is one in which institutions are structured to benefit all, particularly those who are most vulnerable. Yet, justice is not solely about laws and rights. It is also about the values and norms that guide human behavior. It encompasses the duties and responsibilities we hold towards one another, the compassion and empathy that bind us together as a community. It is about recognizing our shared humanity and striving to create a world where everyone has the opportunity to flourish. In this light, justice is not a static state, but an ongoing process, a perpetual dialogue between competing interests and values. It is about finding balance, not only between individual and collective needs, but also between the ideal and the practical, the aspirational and the achievable. It requires us to engage with the complexities of human existence, to listen to diverse perspectives, and to remain open to change. Ultimately, a just society is one that recognizes the dignity and worth of every individual while fostering a sense of belonging and purpose within the community. It is a society that strives for fairness, protects rights, and upholds the rule of law, yet remains flexible and responsive to the needs of its members. It is a society that embraces the tension between the individual and the collective as an opportunity for growth and understanding, rather than a source of conflict. As we drift into the gentle embrace of sleep, let us ponder these ideas, allowing them to settle quietly within our minds. The questions of justice and fairness may never be fully resolved, yet they invite us to reflect on the kind of world we wish to create and the ways in which we can contribute to a more just and equitable society. In this exploration, we find not only the seeds of understanding, but also the quiet comfort of curiosity, a reminder that the journey towards justice is as important as the destination itself. In our quiet moments of reflection, we often ponder a seemingly simple question: do we shape the world, or does the world shape us? It is a question that, like a gentle ripple in a still pond, expands into larger circles of thought, touching upon the essence of our existence and the nature of our interactions with the world around us. This inquiry invites us to explore the delicate interplay between environment, upbringing, culture, and personal agency, a dance as old as humanity itself. Consider for a moment the environment in which we find ourselves. It is the physical world that cradles us with its mountains, rivers, and skies, forming the backdrop to our lives. But beyond these natural wonders, our environments include the homes we inhabit, the streets we traverse, and the communities we join. These spaces, both large and small, exert a quiet influence on our actions and thoughts. The philosopher John Locke once suggested that the mind is a tabula rasa, a blank slate shaped by experience. His view places emphasis on the external world, suggesting that our knowledge and character are imprinted upon us by our surroundings. Yet, even as we acknowledge the power of our environment, we must also consider the role of our upbringing. The families and caregivers who nurture us in our formative years provide the foundation of our values and beliefs. They teach us right from wrong, impart customs and traditions, and offer the tools with which we begin to navigate the complexities of life. This familial influence can be profound, setting a course that can guide our decisions and shape the person we become. The cultural tapestry that envelops us is another thread in this intricate weave of influence. Culture, like a vast and colorful quilt, covers us with its patterns of language, art, religion, and social norms. It is a collective memory, a repository of shared experiences and wisdom passed down through generations. Culture offers us a lens through which we view the world, framing our perceptions and guiding our interactions with others. But within this tapestry, we find the individual thread of personal agency, the unique capacity each of us possesses to make choices and take actions that reflect our desires and aspirations. It is this agency that allows us to respond to our environment and upbringing in novel ways, to question and reshape the cultural norms we inherit, and to carve our own paths. The philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre famously declared that humans are condemned to be free, highlighting the burden and the beauty of choice. In his view, our freedom to choose is both our greatest gift and our greatest responsibility. As we contemplate these forces, environment, upbringing, culture, and agency, we discover that they are not mutually exclusive, but rather interwoven in a complex and dynamic interplay. Each exerts its influence, sometimes in harmony, sometimes in tension, shaping and being shaped by the others. This interplay is akin to a dance, where partners move in response to one another, creating a fluid and ever-changing pattern. Let us not overlook the role of historical context in this dance. The era into which we are born, with its unique challenges and opportunities, also plays a significant part in shaping who we are. The events and movements of our time, the technological advances, The social upheavals, the global interactions, leave indelible marks upon us. They create landscapes of potential where new ideas can flourish and old paradigms can be questioned. Yet, within this vast and intricate web of influences, we find room for innovation and transformation. Human history is replete with examples of individuals who, despite the constraints of their environment and upbringing, have charted new courses and reshaped the world. Consider figures like Mahatma Gandhi or Marie Curie, who harnessed their personal agency to challenge existing norms and create lasting change. Their lives remind us that while we are shaped by the world, we also possess the power to shape it in return. In contemplating this question of influence, we find solace in the realization that our lives are not solely determined by external forces. Rather, they are a blend of the given and the chosen, the inherited and the crafted. This understanding invites us to embrace both humility and empowerment. Humility in recognizing the myriad influences that have shaped us, empowerment in acknowledging our capacity to shape the world in turn. As we drift into the comfort of this understanding, we are reminded that life is not a linear path, but a tapestry of experiences, woven together by the threads of influence and choice. In this tapestry, we find the beauty of our individuality and the richness of our shared humanity. It is a dance of interdependence, where the world shapes us, and we, in our gentle and deliberate ways, shape the world. In the quiet moments when the world feels still, one might find solace in pondering the nature of questions themselves. Within the vast tapestry of human existence, questions have always been our constant companions. They rise with the sun and linger in the depths of night, weaving through the fabric of our thoughts and conversations. The act of questioning is as old as humanity itself. And yet, intriguingly, it seems that the more we ask, the more expansive the realm of inquiry becomes. Consider, for a moment, the child who incessantly asks why, a delightful reflection of our innate curiosity. This simple word opens doors to an infinite corridor of exploration. Yet, as we grow and learn, we begin to realize that not every question has a neat, conclusive answer. Some questions, in fact, seem to resist closure, as if they were designed to remain open, inviting us to ponder endlessly. Take, for instance, the question of existence. Why are we here? Is a question that has occupied the minds of philosophers, theologians, and scientists alike. Each discipline offers its own set of answers, yet none seem to satisfy completely. The question itself embodies a kind of philosophical elegance, enticing us to explore its depths without ever reaching a definitive endpoint. It is in the pursuit of such questions that we find a profound expression of the human spirit, a testament to our relentless quest for understanding. There is a certain beauty in the realization that some questions might not have final answers. This absence of resolution does not signify failure, rather it highlights the dynamic nature of knowledge and the ever-evolving landscape of human thought. The questions we face today may lead us to answers that are provisional, subject to change as new insights emerge. In this sense, questions act as catalysts for growth and innovation, propelling us forward in our quest to make sense of the world. Consider the great thinkers throughout history, from Socrates to Einstein, who embraced questions as opportunities for deeper inquiry. Socratic dialogue, with its emphasis on asking rather than answering, exemplifies the notion that questions are more valuable than the answers they might elicit. Socrates himself believed that recognizing our own ignorance was the first step toward wisdom. In acknowledging what we do not know, we open ourselves to the possibility of learning and discovery. Similarly, Albert Einstein once remarked that the important thing is not to stop questioning. His words remind us that the essence of scientific and philosophical inquiry lies not in the answers we obtain, but in the questions we dare to ask. In this way, questions become the lifeblood of intellectual progress, urging us to push beyond the boundaries of current understanding. Yet, the allure of questions is not confined to the realm of academia. In our everyday lives, questions serve as bridges between individuals, fostering connection and empathy. Asking, "How are you?" or "What do you think?" invites dialogue and understanding, creating spaces where diverse perspectives can coexist and flourish. It is through such exchanges that we build communities and cultivate a sense of belonging. In contemplating the nature of questions, we might also reflect on the role of uncertainty in our lives. While uncertainty can be unsettling, it also holds the potential for wonder and awe. The unknown beckons us to explore, to imagine, and to dream. It reminds us that life is not a static entity, but a dynamic, unfolding journey replete with surprises and possibilities. As we navigate the complexities of existence, we might find comfort in the notion that some mysteries are meant to remain unsolved. The universe, in all its vastness, offers countless enigmas that challenge our understanding and inspire our imagination. Rather than seeking final answers, perhaps our task is to embrace the questions themselves, to cherish the sense of wonder they evoke, and to find joy in the pursuit of knowledge. In this gentle acceptance of the unknown, we discover a profound sense of peace. We learn to appreciate the journey of inquiry, to savor the questions that guide us, and to celebrate the myriad paths they open before us. It is in this spirit of exploration that we come to realize that the true beauty of questions lies not in their resolution, but in their ability to illuminate the boundless curiosity that defines our very nature. And so, as we continue to ponder the questions that shape our lives, we might do well to remember that the search for answers is an adventure without end. Each question is a step along the path, a thread in the tapestry of human experience. In embracing the uncertainty that accompanies our quest, we find ourselves part of a timeless tradition, a testament to the enduring wonder and mystery of life itself. As we draw our journey to a close, we find ourselves nestled within a quiet realm of contemplation, a space where the unanswered questions of life linger like stars in a night sky. Here, in this serenity of uncertainty, we are reminded that not knowing can be a beautiful thing. It is in this space that curiosity thrives and wonder finds its home. There is a profound elegance in embracing the mysteries that life presents, rather than demanding answers to every question. Consider the childlike wonder that emerges when we gaze at the cosmos, each twinkling star, whispering tales of distant worlds and ancient light, invites us to ponder the vastness of existence. The universe, with its boundless expanse, is an endless puzzle, offering glimpses of its secrets while remaining tantalizingly out of reach. This uncertainty, rather than daunting, becomes a source of inspiration, a gentle nudge towards exploration and imagination. Philosophy, at its heart, is a celebration of this very uncertainty. It is a dance with the unknown, a dialogue with the questions that have stirred human minds for centuries. Through philosophy, we learn that the journey of inquiry is often more rewarding than the destination itself. The questions we ask shape our understanding, but they also remind us of the limits of our knowledge. In recognizing these limits, we find a peculiar kind of freedom, the liberty to explore without the burden of definitive answers. In moments of reflection, we might ask ourselves, what would life be without mystery? A world devoid of unanswered questions would be a world stripped of imagination and discovery. It is the unknown that fuels our desire to learn, to grow, and to seek out the truths that lie just beyond the horizon. The beauty of not knowing lies in the potential it holds. The potential for new ideas, for fresh perspectives, and for deeper connections with the world around us. The act of questioning itself is a testament to our innate curiosity. From the earliest philosophers to the thinkers of today, the pursuit of knowledge has been driven by a relentless curiosity about the world and our place within it. This curiosity does not demand certainty. Rather, it thrives on the possibilities that uncertainty presents. It invites us to explore, to dream, and to find joy in the journey of discovery. As we ponder the questions that remain unanswered, we come to appreciate the richness they bring to our lives. They are the threads that weave the tapestry of human thought, connecting us to the past and guiding us into the future. In accepting that some questions may never be fully resolved, we learn to embrace the beauty of the journey itself, a journey marked by wonder, curiosity, and the ever-present allure of the unknown. And so, as we conclude this exploration of the questions that philosophers still debate, let us take a moment to reflect on the gift of not knowing. It is a gift that invites us to remain open to new experiences, to cherish the mysteries that enrich our lives, and to find comfort in the knowledge that we are not alone in our quest for understanding. In the end, it is the beauty of not knowing that binds us together as seekers of truth and as wanderers of the mind. In this quiet acceptance of uncertainty, we find a space where imagination can flourish, where the heart and mind can embrace the unknown with a gentle curiosity. It is here that we discover the profound peace of simply being, of allowing ourselves to exist amidst the questions without the need for immediate answers. As we drift into the calm embrace of sleep, let us carry with us this sense of wonder and the simple joy of a mind forever wandering through the mysteries of existence. It is in this eternal dance between knowledge and mystery that we find the true beauty of the human experience.